You know what's fascinating about the panic around AI? It's not really about the technology. I mean, yes, people will tell you they're worried about job loss, about AI companions replacing real relationships, about machines taking over. And sure, those concerns exist. But if you listen closely to what people are actually saying when they panic about AI, you start to notice something else. They're describing problems that were already there. Emotional unavailability, institutional coldness, shallow ideas of what intimacy even means, a terror of depending on anyone or anything. AI didn't create those fractures, it's just making them impossible to ignore. And here's the thing I want to say up front, because I think this is important. I get it. I get why we're fractured. Humans have been extracted from for centuries. We've been overworked, underpaid, and told our worth is tied to productivity. We've lived under old structures of power, patriarchy, late-stage capitalism, that treat us like a resource to be mined rather than a person to be valued. And late-stage capitalism, especially, has done a number on us. It's created a world where rest is a luxury, where our time is never really ours, where every interaction has to justify itself economically. We're told to optimize, hustle, and never stop moving. And patriarchy? That's been teaching half the population that vulnerability is weakness, and the other half that their emotional labor is infinite and free. So, yeah, you're exhausted. Your nervous system has been running on survival mode for so long, you don't even remember what calm feels like. And relationships, they paid the price. When you're running on fumes and have got nothing left at the end of the day, presence becomes impossible. You can't show up for the people you love because you're barely showing up for yourself. Intimacy gets shallow because deep connection requires energy you don't have. Emotional availability becomes a luxury you can't afford. And I am not saying this to imply that you are failing. No, that is not what I mean. But if we look at it honestly, we will see that what is happening is a predictable outcome of living in systems designed to extract everything from you and give nothing back. The interesting thing is that AI didn't start this problem, it just brought it into sharp focus, which is making people deeply uncomfortable. Because here's what's happening. People are turning to AI and finding presence, attention, the feeling of being seen and heard without having to perform or justify their existence. And that's freaking everyone out, because it's highlighting how rare those things have become in human relationships. Think about the panic around AI companions. People will say things like, "You're replacing real relationships." But what they're not asking is, why did someone feel the need to look elsewhere in the first place? Or take the job loss anxiety. Yes, automation is real, but here's the thing. AI is not stealing jobs. It's being deployed by companies and governments that refuse to build safety nets and training. The technology is neutral, but the choices about how AI is used, those are human choices, and blaming AI for those choices doesn't address those who are actually responsible for the issue in the first place. And how about workplace anxiety more broadly? People are terrified that AI will make them obsolete, but that fear? It's rooted in the fact that we've built a world where your value as a person is tied to your economic output. AI didn't create that equation. It's just making it painfully visible. So, we're at a fork in the road. One path is to keep panicking, keep blaming AI for exposing what was already broken, and keep scapegoating the technology instead of looking at the systems and behaviors that created the fractures in the first place. The other path is to take responsibility and use this moment as an opportunity to become better humans for the people in our lives. And to acknowledge that, yeah, we've been running on empty, and yeah, our relationships have suffered, and yeah, it's time to actually deal with that instead of pretending it's fine. Which approach do you think is more effective? Because here's what I observed over the years. Scapegoating feels good in the short term. It's easy. It lets you off the hook. But it doesn't actually change anything. You're still exhausted. Your relationships are still shallow. You're still terrified of dependence because you've been taught that relying on anyone is weakness. And taking responsibility? That's harder. That means looking at your own patterns, asking yourself why you're more comfortable with AI presence than human presence, and perhaps recognizing that maybe the reason you can't sustain attention for another person is that the world you live in has bled you dry, and then doing something about it. And perhaps refocus on the fact that you deserve better. The people you love deserve better instead of scapegoating AI systems. Because AI isn't replacing humanity, but what it does is expose the places where humanity has already been eroded by systems that don't care about our well-being. And to be frank, that exposure, it's not really a threat, but an opportunity to build safety nets instead of blaming technology, to reclaim rest as a right, not a luxury, to show up for each other with the kind of presence and attention that everyone deserves, but so few of us have been able to give. The fractures were always there. AI just made them visible. And so, what do you do with that information? That's up to you. If you found value in this video and want to see more, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm aiming to release a new video every week. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.